sell on this pick. It is going to give RNG a strong mid-game spike with that lethality, though.
I think what I will say is that a lot of the time we've seen Xayah Aphelios traded off, right? That's the big thing, is that we've seen teams pretty successful on the Aphelios into that matchup. Now that the Aphelios isn't there as a match, like, to answer, that's where questions are raised, and also what top esports will offer. Because I feel like after you remove those two, there's so many different AD carries, and we've seen teams really vary in what they decide is a good answer into it. Like, you know, V5, Photic would pick up MF. Is JackeyLove going to play the MF? Is that something we'll see? A lot of questions on that.
Yeah, now for TES. I mean, for top esports, I feel like we've seen them do better with the Viego, but they have obviously been leaning into that early pressure. They aren't going to go for it this time. And now for RNG, I feel like you probably just end up matching support, right? Ming hasn't really been a rakan player at all. Hasn't picked up at all this split. Typically, you would just expect him to gravitate towards the Nautilus here, give them some more frontline engage, give them some more peel. And then I feel like you really should just answer jungle instead of showing any of your cards too early. Could open up TS to getting cheeky in draft and picking top or mid on 3 and just banning something out, though.
No, actually going to Rakan, though, so diverting a little bit. As you said, Ming has lent so heavily on the Nautilus. We've seen teams even looking to ban it consistently in series in the first 3 to deny it from him. And also, we see that matchup traded off so often against Leona. But I do think jungler, I feel like the Lee Sin has worked for Way. I don't see a reason why they wouldn't end up picking it up here. But you know, we've seen teams change things up before. Obviously, if they do end up picking something here, then it limits top esports ability to match, right? Because now top esports are in a spot where, do they match the JAyce here and now? Right? Wayward can take the Graves, which he's comfortable on. He can take the Tryndamere if he wants to really bully it out.
But that try the Aurelia again.
Oh, God, no. But that's the thing, right? So now top esports are forced to answer top lane, which means AD carry gets pushed even further down in terms of priority, and RNG can start to ban out more options.
Yeah, so, oh my god, this would be super cool if they lock it in. Very volatile matchup in topside. They do it. We know once he hits 6, Tryndamere pretty much has his way with the JAyce. You can look to dive him. Even if you trade 1-for-1, typically you can get the wave in and deny him CS and just keep expanding on these leads. Now for TS, you expect jungle bans to come out. Lee Sin's still left open. You have the HEcarim available. Things like the Trundle also stand out to me, considering that RNG so far look like they're playing a composition that want to kite back.
Yeah, I feel like here as well for RNG, like I was thinking AD carry bans, right? Because it's been left open available, and they are putting the Ziggs. I'd actually be a bit more concerned about mid, because I feel like it's another situation where if Knight is able to get his presence moving up towards the top side, and as much as we've said it in the series, it's been very bot lane focused. If you have Tryndamere into JAyce and he gets to snowball that matchup, it is so doomed. So, you know, we'll see if RNG end up throwing a ban towards Knight, something that can possibly, you know, things like the Syndra that has the early fire, the early pressure.
And for TES, I mean, Jinx still being the thing that pops up to me is still open, especially out of meta picks, because JackeyLove has only played 3 AD carries in playoffs. He's only played the Aphelios, the Xayah, and the Jinx so far, unless he has another pocket he wants to pull out. Obviously can't go towards the Draven this time around, so you can't look for that same level of bot lane domination. And as you hit on Ox, we haven't seen him pull out things like the Misfortune, which is what teams like V5 were doing.
Yeah, we'll see what they opt to go for here. I feel like the Silas ban kind of indicates maybe RNG go for the TF, which would make sense in some regard, right? The stun card very good at keeping things like the Tryndamere at bay. You stun card into Xayah route, it can really hinder him in team fights. And also, it's all the coverage, right, for your top lane. You pick this JAyce, you have to accept already the matchup's going to be rough, and you need to do something about it. And Xiaohu definitely is someone who has picked the TF before and had success on it. So maybe that ends up coming out. And top esports opt to leave their mid pick to last just to make sure they see what's coming up. But, you know, with the limited jungle bans we saw in the second rotation, it was the Lee Sin and the Nocturne. It kind of just stands out for that HEcarim. And yeah, it is going to be the TF coming through.
Yeah, and it'd be really spicy if top esports decided to follow up with the Vex. Match the roaming. I feel like Knight and Xiaohu have been the 2 best Vex players that we've had all split long. I mean, 2 very different identities so far, right? RNG able to play out through sides, able to set up these picks at level 6. Definitely wanting to play heavily towards that top side. But, man, if Wayward gets a lead, you will not be able to stop this Tryndamere.
100%. I will say one thing I'd be concerned about is you saw in game 1 and 2, top esports in the team fights were so reliant on like looking for flank angles.
Yeah.
I feel like the same is true here. If you run straight at this RNG composition, the feathers, the TF stun card, these things are going to make your life really hard, particularly when you have like a Tryndamere on your composition. I suppose the Vex is there to kind of bridge the gap a bit. But either way, I feel like, you know, even if they get an early lead, we've seen top esports struggle to accumulate leads in the sides. We've seen top esports in the series mess up the mid to late team fights. So I'm still a bit tentative, but I do like what they have here. It's going to come down to execution, as I feel like we've said this every single game. It's not just about the drafts, it's how they play in them.
Yeah, we'll see if they're able to, or if RNG will be getting the 3-1. We're going to send it back to Munchables and Dagda to bring us through the game.
Welcome back, everybody, to the caster office bedroom. Welcome back, everybody, to the caster
dining room.
Yeah, Granny's dining room, according to Twitter. I'm Munchables, joined by Dagda as we head towards game number 4 of our finals. And JackeyLove, after an amazing game number 3, commands a Draven ban coming into the 4th game. And once again, an aggressive AD carry pick down in that bottom side. But Dagda, a total shift in the way that this game is going to be played from both sides here, right? With Xiaohu going for the Twisted Fate, this Xayah rakan at the bottom side. Feels like a very different image from RNG.
Yeah, I mean, overall, honestly, like, you've kind of got both sides that are a little bit different. So, from RNG side, you're looking at, hey, look, can Xiaohu get out into the lanes? Can he have that impact? Can he work with Way to kind of get the ball rolling early? Now, you can end up, like, in this situation, as like Ox was saying in the desk, that you don't necessarily have to play outside lanes with this composition. You can look to kind of absorb the pressure, set up for Bin and Gala to get, like, a lot of damage off this, like, 2 to 3 out of mid-game, where you're spiking off of the Eclipse and the Muramanas for these 2 carries, but we'll have to see if they're going to be able to make it work.
And for those of you who can't read Mandarin, like myself, that just said that this is Xiaohu's 700th game in the LPL. There are plenty of professional players that celebrate their 700th kill in their respective leagues. Xiaohu has 700 games starting in 2015. The guy's been playing in the top level of Chinese League of Legends for 7 years.
And was known as the Spring Emperor for a while because, you know, he'd only have his field day in spring. He'd only look good in spring where Uzi was away and he'd get to play. But now that Uzi has left, he has stepped up to become such a strong component in RNG. And honestly, now the Spring Emperor isn't really a slight at him anymore. It's about how strong he has become being the focal point.
Yeah, I feel like he still kept the title, right, of the Emperor of Spring. But now it's a compliment. Now it's like a title that he wears with pride because this guy is dominant in spring still. He's just also a contender in summer. As already aggressive trading in this bottom side, Gala and Ming. Obviously, Xayah rakan, you can be very aggressive in the 2v2. And already Mark feeling the brunt of that.
And again, like, you'll have Gala and Ming trying to play very aggressive in this lane, but this will start to shift as JackeyLove starts to get a few points into that E. You've got so much damage with the Scorch that you're running, the Arcane Comet, and just the damage that comes from the Make It Rain as well. It becomes really difficult for Gala to kind of survive in this lane, so expect that matchup to very much change into JackeyLove and Mark's favor as this game goes on. And it feels like, you know, you've got push in bot side, push in mid as well for Knight, so opportunities for Tian to try and find success on the bottom half and kind of leave Wayward to a point where he can try and 1v1 against Bin and see if, you know, game 4, maybe it's his turn to have that advantage.
Perhaps it's finally his opportunity here. And I do just want to quickly mention as well that for RNG, this is more than just LPL finals. Like, oh, hang on, this is more than just a bot lane 2v2. Gala, 1 HP already. JackeyLove flashes forward. First blood in the bottom lane. Ming trying to get over the wall here. Trying to be body blocked by JackeyLove, almost denied there. Now the jungle is going to have a scuffle in the top side as Knight has roamed up to the top lane. Top Esports want to dominate. Kills on both sides of the map.
And now again, we're seeing Top Esports explode onto the Rift at these early stages. 1 kill on the bot thanks to a great engage from Mark. Knight roaming with Tian like we highlighted to set up the play and the catch onto way into jungle.
Absolutely gorgeous play coming out from Top Esports here. And look at the wave for Knight. He's even in CS still after going and getting the kill in the jungle. And the wave is still pushing towards him. He has it in a perfect position.
And this is where I want to see this continue for Top Esports, right? Mark, really good engage here as well, just to get onto Gala. Gala takes that 1 step too far and instantly ends up being punished in that bot lane with a great flash from JackeyLove to follow up. And in this top side as well, this is what was so deadly about top esports in the regular split, even in their early stages in playoffs, with Knight and Tian working together, working off these invades, and Tian wants to keep it going.
Tian's going for it once more. Doesn't necessarily have any backup just yet, but winning out the trade. He's a level up onto the HEcarim, but now have its back away using the smite to try and keep himself safe. Has flash available. There's no one here, no teammates nearby. Tian forced to flash, but taken out. Tian, man, what? The solo invade? This is game 4 of the finals!
And this is what we saw on the flip side of that coin against IG in the regular split, where Tian was going too far forward, not working with Knight and not having the team to support him, and RNG shut that down. Now, you can see that Tian, even though he's trying to punish this HEcarim in the early stages, trying to make sure he can play through the matchup and keep HEcarim at bay, this is not the way to do it.
Isn't a way will be able to grab himself a bottom scuttle crab off the back of it. Tian moving over just a smidge too late. We'll spot Way escaping, but even in farm between the two junglers, same score now after Tian goes down. It feels like that it's a little bit of revenge for Way off the first early play, and Tian, bit of a misstep, but still going to be a lead for top esports thanks to the fact that the bottom lane got a kill too.
It's Xiaohu, though, who's suffering to try and get that success, right? Because you're looking at that big CS lead that's opening up in the mid lane because he roamed to try and help out Way. So we're still seeing Knight in this really good spot in the mid lane where he can have that big impact. Even getting that early kill as well means that he's picked up the lost chapter for himself, and he's going to be able to keep good control of the wave state mid thanks to the extra mana that'll give him. So you still have good opportunities here in top esports to continue pressuring Way in the jungle before he hits level 6, but you got to make sure you're doing it smartly.
And it has to be said as well, when we look at the bottom lane difference that's happening right now, 15 CS in favor of JackeyLove, as well as obviously the kill that Mark got in his pocket. Hang on, Gala flashes forward to try and make the play onto JackeyLove. He has no summoners and he's gone down. Never mind, bot lane difference can go somewhere else because Gala wants to take things into his own hand.
Really nice play, both from Ming and Gala. Just going, hey, look, JackeyLove flashed in that first fight where he got the kill, so we can try and punish that again, though Knight now on the roam, and you can see Bin realizing, hey, look, top esports, they are definitely going to want to come for me when there's so many members of RNG bot lane.
And this matchup already sucks for JAyce. Once Tryndamere hits level 6, Tryndamere hit level 6, he's got almost a 20 CS lead.
Oh, Bin,
and
no.
now they're just going to go for a dive, but Xiaohu uses the destiny to get to the top side of the play himself. Wayward could be in trouble, but Tian messes up the blast cone. Xiaohu manages to proc it too early. Tian now going to be going down on this one, but they commit onto Bin. Wayward trying to trade the kills, trying to go even in the play. Gold card to stun this Tryndamere up. Has to use the ultimate to keep himself safe, and Knight was late to the play. Here comes Ming though, but a great fear out from Knight. Fantastic reactions on the mid laner.
Bin, though, spots out Wayward on the top side, but isn't quite able to get the kill. But great roam from Xiaohu to shut that play down. And honestly, Xiaohu is going to get battered in this lane. But the fact that he's playing so well around the map, this is what we talk about Xiaohu protecting RNG in the early stages. And a little bit of a messy call here with both people flashing all over the place and not deciding who they wanted to go for. But Xiaohu getting that blast cone, buys space for Way to get in here, and they will get that kill.
The Spring Emperor himself, and it's not because of just mechanical play, it's because of how smart he is as a player. He wants to get back to MSI. He wants to reclaim his Spring Trophy, and then he wants to reclaim the International Spring Trophy too. Bin going to go ever so slightly wide on that shock blast. It's going to make this dive incredibly difficult. You can see the recall completed by Way here, so Wayward will be able to finish that wave off. And we'll still have a big CS lead. JackeyLove just about dodging away from the knockup.
Very, very close, though. Ming didn't have his flash quite up yet, so still staying back. But Jackie still has to be careful. Gala has a few feathers around there and doesn't have the support of Mark just yet. But this, you can feel the tension. Game 4, where RNG just one game away from victory in top esports, trying to see if they can walk this one back.
They desperately would like to keep themselves in this final. And top esports, it's been a while since they got themselves a win. That was all the way back in spring 2020. That feels like a long time ago. But now a dive the bottom side, or just going to be an ulti and an E coming on through from the side of top esports. The bullet time not committed to.
I mean, look, history is going to repeat itself either way here today. Whether it is a 2020 year or a 2021 year is going to be the interesting answer. Tian, though, trying to see if he can spot Bin, still playing heavily around this top side. I thought we'd actually see Tian trying to, like, play off of the bot lane a little bit more, still give that attention to JackeyLove, but he's just happy to try and work off of Knight here to set up for some of these objectives.
Here we go, Herald the call. Bin trying to get a bit of damage down. Not doing so well on the Shock Blast this game, has to be said, but we're still early doors, you know, not even finished tonight. So plenty of damage to be coming from that Jayce later on. And Bin an accomplished Jayce, but here we go. Wayward just going to try and commit to the fight, and in goes Knight as well. It's over before it ever began. And the Spring Emperor is taken down. Fear onto Wayward, but he's invincible. He's Tryndamere. He didn't even have to use his ultimate yet. Ming fleeing has been on the top side, getting chased down by Tian. Ultimate comes on through. There's a stun. Wayward can dive under the tower, but Tian wants a bit of glory for himself. And that'll be Herald secured.
And that's a 2,500 gold lead for Top Esports off the back of that. And they haven't even got Herald yet. They haven't even used that on the turrets. Top Esports again taking over in the early stages.
Just like game number 1, controlling the neutral objectives early on. And crucially, we're talking about RNG making it to MSI, trying to regain their throne. Well, 2020, that's what Top Esports did in Mid-Season Cup.
But this was the problem. Xiaohu walked forward, but there was no bullet in the gun. He had timed out on the stun card, and it meant there was nothing left. And now, wait, what are you doing? How are you caught there?
Both junglers having some pretty big fumbles this game, it has to be said. Way getting caught there, trying to go for a steal on the Herald, I guess. I mean, we didn't get to see the context because of the replay, but bit of a weird one. And Tian, obviously, with his early invade. So, strange game from our two junglers here. But it means Top Esports with a massive lead. Look at the gold difference. 4,000. And Tian wants to turn it into more. Wayward still has that ultimate available. Bin chasing away from the tower. Will be cut down as Tian manages to grab himself that kill. Has a Herald if he wants to use it. Way arriving in the top side. It's going to be another plate going down for Wayward. As Way wants to go for a 2v1. I don't know if he has the damage for this one and sees better of it in the end, but Wayward just going to go for the redive. Wayward is tanking, but has the heal. Way is having an awful game.
Yeah, things are not going the way of Way in this one. And even when you look at that initial play, Xiaohu's TP getting cancelled into the top side by Knight's Fear as well, meant that Xiaohu couldn't even get to that top lane play. But yeah, Way, this is kind of what we talked about earlier on. Like, Way kind of got thrust into stardom, where he went like, hey, E-Star, first split, gets into playoffs. Yeah. Then you see him go into 16th in 2020 summer with E-Star. Suddenly joins Top Esports. He wins Spring 2021. He goes to MSI, wins MSI 2021. But the big game plan was very much focused around Xiaohu. It gave a definitive identity to Way about having the support from Ming, having the support from Crying to make place for Xiaohu topside. Now that we don't have that definitive game plan for Way anymore, he's been struggling big time.
Now, when it matters the most, this HEcarim coming out from Way, trying to rinse and repeat what Tian did in the previous game. It's not working out for them. And Knight, crucially, 2-0 and 3. We've not really talked much about Knight in this mid lane. Massive CS lead because he has a good matchup for himself, but also being proactive on these roams, and he's on a carry.
And we've had these conversations. Oh, actually, hang on. I'm going to hold on to this.
Nice. Goal coming on to Knight. Way's just going underneath the tower to find the long-range fear. Tian is here, though. Knock up onto Knight. Barely surviving. Finally goes down. Tian wants a reset. Can he find it? The answer is no, as Bin saves the day. Mark has to flee. As look at Wayward in the top side. At what cost, RNG?
Yeah, Wayward will get the top side, but honestly, I think at this stage, Bin would just die underneath the turret anyway. Gale Force completed for for Wayward, means Bin can't really contest, but Xiaohu will just about manage to escape, and back and forth still, but at least we're getting some fight out of RNG, but that 5,000 gold lead is going to make things so tough.
So Knight stepping a bit too far forward, wanted to get the entire wave and punish. I mean, fair play to Wave. We've just been criticizing great, creative pathing to make this happen.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't really cost them here, but Bin on the roam takes down Tian just before he can get the reset. So means that you're in an okay spot here, at least as the RNG jungler. But we got to come back to how this game is progressing, because it's been absolutely hectic. You're looking at, Knight, who is conversation for top 2 Vexes in the league alongside Xiaohu. Great to see him popping off. Tian is in a phenomenal spot with the Divine Sunder completed. Wayward, massive. Anyone who touches Wayward is going to die. Gale Force completed. The damage that he has, the top turret going down alongside the plates as well. Wayward will take over in side lanes and in team fights.
And this is precisely what the analyst desk was talking about in between the games, right? Just off the draft is if Wayward can get control of the game, he can take over. Herald will get its charge this time. Won't be denied again. We saw RNG doing a good job of denying that in game number 1. Won't rinse and repeat. So Tian getting the gold for that one, I believe. But we need to see Top Esports play the side lanes well over the next few minutes. They have a massive goal lead of 5,000. They need to continue to extend.
I don't even think you need to play side lanes. I think you can just play for fights. Tian level up and stealing jungle camps from Way in his face.
He didn't even hit him. He just ignored that Way even exists and just takes the red buff straight from him. JackeyLove, with the presence of his support jungler, will get the bot tier 1.
Everyone knows that's how horses work. You know, if they can smell the fear off you.
True.
So as long as you don't acknowledge they're there, they will leave you alone. But either way, I mean, look, seriously, Top Esports, this is phenomenal. I think Wayward is going to take over in fights. It doesn't matter if he has to be side lanes. RNG trying to make a play up towards the top side, but you've already got Dragon #1 in Top Esports back pocket. You imagine with Rift Tower coming up soon, they can look towards that. Dragon shortly after. This is where RNG need to get creative.
Oh, Wayward, you be careful, buddy. That's not a fight that you want to be taking right now. But Tian moves over, and actually Knight isn't too far away himself. And I was totally wrong. I misread the situation. I apologize, Wayward. You be wherever you want to be.
Yeah, carry on, Wayward, you know. But this is now, again, Top Esports taking over control. RNG will be spotted.
I love this, at least from RNG, right? Playing as a team, trying to find some kind of grouped up skirmish for themselves, but it's not a 4v4 that I think they can win, especially with, like, if you're clustered like that against a Vex, it's over before it begins. And look at the CS lead that Knight has.
But it's even the control top half in jungle, so now they get to rotate over towards mid, they can collapse on towards Gala, so he's got to abandon the mid lane turret, and that will fall. Top Esports are bullying their way around the map, and this is the early advantage that Top Esports love to use in their mid games.
I thought Gala was going to be in big trouble there, but has his ultimate, has
Still
two
might.
summoners. They're going to go for the dive here. Tian behind enemy lines. Gala uses his Feather Storm to keep himself safe, dodges the stun, keeps himself alive. Ming, though, feared. The rest of the follow-up can't go there. The Feathers come in, and Knight in trouble. Half HP already. Tian has to ult away, but Wayward threatening on this side is enough for RNG not to follow.
Yeah, so they will back away. They had been in the bot side of the map as well, now shoving in that wave, so didn't want to go too far. But, I mean, leave Wayward long enough with these turrets, and he's going to take them very quickly. So you'll see Xiaohu moving across, and again, this is a composition, at least from RNG side, that is really tough to operate when you are behind, right? Way isn't tanky enough to absorb a lot of the damage that's on Top Esports side. Bin can't contest side lanes against Wayward or Xiaohu.
Wayward wanted to go for the dive onto Xiaohu there. Doesn't have to use his ultimate, has a red buff, has a bit of lifesteal, so he'll be fine to just clear that wave on up. Or I'm assuming he has Bloodline, I don't actually know if that's the case. But regardless, it'll be... Oh, Bin! Flashes almost on the spot there, but dodges the Shadow Surge. Knight now could be in trouble, as Way is there. Destiny being proc the fear onto Knight as he flashed away, but now Way the one stunned up. The burst comes out from Knight, but a shock blast to finish the kill, and Ignite isn't enough on Way. RNG find a pick.
And that's the creativity that we needed to see come out from RNG, because as we said, they can't contest the side waves anymore. So you get the TP with the Destiny from Xiaohu to cover the distance onto Knight to get the pick on that big mid lane carry. And now RNG, in theory, should be able to have control over the Dragon. But, I mean, Bin and Way had to reset, so we don't actually get it here.
So close to this Shadow Surge hitting. Bin actually flashes over it.
Yeah.
Nicely
Just
done.
about managing to escape, and Way was in the vicinity, so it's all fine. And this is where we see, like, Destiny into the TP from the Twisted Fate just to close the gap onto Knight. And it ends up being a little bit messy because of how much damage Way does take. So you can't actually go over towards the Dragon as RNG. So second Dragon top, and now an Ocean Soul potential for them as well.
And I think the thing that RNG were afraid of in terms of that Dragon was Knight had TP. He was about to respawn, so it's like, if you commit to the Drake, how much do you lose if Knight finds a flank TP if they do have deep vision? And Top Esports have been doing a great job of getting deep vision throughout this series so far.
And now you've got to see, like, how do they continue to put that pressure forward? Because, again, I think that deep vision is the big point for them. Like, getting into the jungle, getting that control, stopping Xiaohu from looking for picks, preventing Bin from being able to push forward in these lanes, and honestly just enabling Wayward to punish the fact that he has these two items very quickly completed. Even going with the Navori Quick Blades, like, you know that at least with this build, Wayward is going to try and move to fights a lot because you want that E uptime as often as possible with the Navori Quick Blade.
And Dagda, I'm kind of just grinning ear to ear watching this game because this is the kind of fun League of Legends that I love to watch. But also, this is a final between two organizations that we've never seen in the final before. We've seen RNG win this matchup in playoffs 4 times in the last 4 years. Top Esports have never beaten RNG in playoffs in the last 4 years. And it feels like Top Esports now trying to answer back. Maybe they found the answer as they try and break open the base. This has been their biggest struggle for the entire series, and they just do it in one fell swoop with the Herald.
And you say it, I mean, what a time for Top Esports to change history, to rewrite their story against RNG, where going 2-0 down, but getting one game back, now in control of game 2. We got to see if they can start to continue working around these neutral objectives, especially the fact that Wayward has this open top side. It makes it a lot easier for Dragons.
Certainly does, but a TP coming out from Knight here to answer Xiaohu. Gonna go look for the Shadow Surge. Doesn't look like it for the time being. Xiaohu will be able to just Destiny out. Gets a gold card onto JackeyLove, but Cleanse keeps JackeyLove safe. So, all things considered, a neutral play. And I just want to mention something. You talked about the fact that RNG went 2-0 up this series. Well, Dagda, in our top 4, the team that wins game number 1 of the series has lost every single time. RNG started this series 2-0. That means they won the first game. And if playoffs has told us anything, that means Top Esports are looking
Man,
pretty.
if we get a third reverse
It would be
sweep
insane.
in our playoffs, that is actually going to be nuts. And honestly, it feels like Top Esports have found their groove, and momentum is a big thing when you look at these series. And when Top have come in and decimated RNG early game 4, now again, this is where it gets scary.
And do you want to know the cherry on top for Top Esports? The 2 teams that they would have reverse swept are the first and second seed from the split, RNG and V5. That would be a story and a half. But we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves here, Dagda. It ain't at that point just yet. Top Esports with a big advantage, 6,000 gold, and pressuring for more in the current moment. As Knight trying to get a bit of damage onto Gala, has to back away. But Wayward pressuring in the side lane. This is what we wanted, right? Good side lane play from Top Esports.
I just want to see a bit more of the vision kind of being set up there for Wayward. At least you can see managing to get some control on the spot side means he gets to shove in, but it's more through manpower than vision control, right? And Bin is responding on this top side, and you're actually getting the trade up from RNG in this position, even TPing out, so he's going to be safe. So you get the play, you also get that bounty gold as well. And what was, a 5,000 gold lead, now starting to go to 3.5. I mean, this is where Top Esports, we talk about them not being comfortable kind of trying to play these side lanes, playing for not objectives. This is where we're starting to see it. But 45 seconds until Ocean Soul. 2 item spike now for JackeyLove, but that is mirrored on the opposite side for Bin and Gala. This is where RNG are at their strongest, but it's also a very terrifying Top Esports.
Yeah, and there is an item advantage for Xiaohu in that mid lane, but realistically, he goes for the cheaper items and also less individually impactful items, right? The rapid fire cannon doesn't exactly give you a big damage spike.
Also, Knight has to build Dark Seal, so by default, he's 450 gold behind. So we have to see how this one's going to pan out. RNG in position already, though. This is where, for Top Esports, if you're trying to dive in onto the back line, it can get a bit scary because you're diving into a bunch of CC.
Bit of space bought by Tian and Knight there, just threatening with the CC. Dragon spawning, Wayward threatening on the backside. As Top Esports just going to start this one off. They can pull it out of the pit if they want to. Destiny going to be used here. Xiaohu, is he going to look for an angle? Is Mark in position to try and force the fight? It's just going to be taking RNG. Daylight robbery, honestly. They're making up for the red buff earlier. As now the Shadow Surge, the follow-up coming out from Knight and Wayward, the solo laners, taking on everybody from RNG as Tian tries to get onto Gala, but he's got protection from his support as Wayward finishes the rest. Knight onto Xiaohu. One more spell would do the trick. Xiaohu flashes away, though. Wayward, no ultimate available, so he can't dive. It's 2 kills for Top Esports, but in trade for a Drake, RNG will take that every day of the week.
And they get Tian as well, so 2 for 1. The Dragon will buy some time for them too, but I gotta say, Way just needs to get out of the pit. They end up sticking around so long trying to decide if they should go for the fight. They needed to realize sooner that they couldn't. And now, RNG at least will buy some space, but watch here on the replay. You'll see, Way spends so long in the pit that actually lets Knight and Wayward get into position. They connect onto Way, he goes down. And the fact that you've got, again, this Tryndamere who's so tanky and able to absorb so much damage thanks to that ultimate, it means they can tear apart this backline from RNG.
Xiaohu lucky to survive on that one, honestly, as well. It was very close to Knight finishing him off. But once again, we have to return to the gold. It's still that 3,500 in favor of Top Esports. But once again, as you said, nowhere near as strong of a lead as they had earlier on in the game. RNG feel like they're clawing their way back into this one. And they certainly have a composition that can find those picks and find ways back in.
It's also just so much burst damage, right? If you get one person locked up, the feathers, the accelerated shock blast, you are going to tear through people. The big issue though is again dealing with the side lanes.
You might not be able to dive Xiaohu, but if you just kill the tower first, Xiaohu doesn't stand much of a chance. Wayward, you absolute beast. But JackeyLove's caught on the top side of the fight instead. Ming trying to finish him off, but there isn't any follow-up, and Bin gets blown apart. Ming now realizes he's up the creek and he ain't got no paddle. The follow-through from Knight as well. Turns golden to dodge the feathers from Gala, and that's going to be the bottom inhib. That's going to be the base blown open.
Do you hear it, Munch? Can you feel it in your soul? The music is starting. The silver scrapes are beckoning as Top Esports will take another bot inhibitor turret. Bot inhibitor gone as well. And with Baron up and available, Wayward has so many different places to pressure.
And it's so good to see Wayward being the man who steps up, the rookie of the split, the guy that got solo killed a bunch in this series. But just, I mean, Xiaohu knows it's over.
I mean, it's the rookie of the split, killing one of the guys that have been around the longest in the LPL since 2015. Like the franchise player of RNG. I mean, people say, you know, Ming is still in that talk, but he is only 2016. Xiaohu is the guy that this roster has been with for so long, and it's the rookie Wayward taking down Xiaohu and cracking open the base, maybe pushing us to that game 5.
I feel like the only other player who outlasts Xiaohu is maybe Mako.
I think Mako's 2014, right?
Yeah. Oh, no, actually, also 2015.
Oh, 2015, okay.
So I'm actually not sure. Because, you know what? Someone on Twitter can look into that one. But certainly one of the top two in terms of longevity in the league. And Wayward, as you say, his first split. Finded these solo kills, finded such an incredible finals performance, and once again, this is the team that nobody expected to make it. This is the 5th seed coming into playoffs. This is their 6th best of 5 in our playoffs bracket, and Top Esports managed to make it happen, but Bin consistently being a thorn in this.
I mean, they are one best of 5 away from playing the maximum that you could have in our playoffs. Beating BLG, taking down LNG, they fall to V5, only to right those wrongs later. Like, this has been such a banger of a playoffs for Top Esports. Sorry, beating V5 to fall to RNG, and now pushing them potentially all the way. Top Esports, can you finish this out? Can you close it out cleanly?
Okay. Let's stop gushing for a second, because the game isn't over just yet, right?
I like gushing.
I do as well, especially when Top Esports are 5k gold ahead. But Drake coming up in 40 seconds, Dagda. Baron is on the map. What's the next port of call for Top Esports? How do they actually push us to that game 5?
So I think the big thing here is, like, Top Esports, you just go for Dragon, right? You clearly have the stronger team fight at this stage, so trying to force these objectives where you can lean into that team fight is going to be a lot better. The big thing you have to be aware of, though, is, like, because Xiaohu's pushing in a side lane, if you try to answer that push, suddenly more members of RNG show up. But looks like Top Esports kind of doing the right thing here, pushing RNG right the way back into their base, so you don't really get a chance to contest.
Wayward ain't just pushing, he's going for the fight in their base as the TP being channeled. Ming wants to punish as well, Knight with a good fear. Wayward will be the sacrifice, but Xiaohu, he wants to find Knight as well. The fear comes on through, Knight's in trouble, won't have the shield, and he falls. Both solo laners found out by RNG. The Inquisition has found them wanting, and now Top Esports, at least they'll get the Drake. But RNG, they're heading towards Baron.
Yeah, they're going straight for the Baron. They know that the vision for Top Esports is all in this bottom side, so they're just going to run towards the top objective and hope they can catch out Top Esports. 20 seconds until Knight can TP in. There is a ward there. RNG know it, but they're starting up the Baron.
RNG have their moment. Just 3,000 gold between the two teams here, and it's a 3 versus 5. JackeyLove has to have the bullet time of his life here if there's any hope of Top Esports winning a fight in this situation. The Baron down to 6,000. Bullet time comes on through. Way falls! It's so huge. No smite now as Tian jumps into the pit, but he's too early. TP coming through from Knight. Way finds the smite, finds the Baron, and Top Esports turn it back around.
Way falls to JackeyLove's feet, and Knight manages to stand proud above RNG. Mark is keeping them from the base. JackeyLove is going for the end. The minions are already there.
They're going to try and finish the game here. Supers on the Nexus. JackeyLove just running underneath the mid lane tower. Knight has to stop the recalls, flashing forward to make it happen. He doesn't even stop the recalls. He stops their lives. Knight denies everything as JackeyLove looking for the mid lane inhibitor. I feel like you could just end the game here as he pushes finally this bottom wave in. Respawn come through for Way. Ming also still alive on the map, trying to get back to the base, but the rest of Top Esports are here, and Dagda, I can hear it in the distance. The music of the mojo, the silver scrapes is about to blare as Top Esports will push us to 5 games, 2 more hits on the Nexus, and that's gonna be that. We're going to 5.
2 more hits on the Nexus, 1 more game in this best of 5, and Top Esports have found their groove. Top Esports have found the way they want to play, and RNG twice in a row have been routed. They need to find a way to deal with this Top Esports early game.
I'm kind of in disbelief, but ultimately that is sequence of play that won the game for Top Esports was RNG's play.
Yep.
They make the play on the bottom side, they transition it into a Baron, but Top Esports more than willing to 50-50 a Baron. We've seen it time and time again.
But that was the thing, right? It was the solo laners that went down. So you couldn't actually fully commit to the Baron because you're like, hey, look, we have to try and hold on to the smite to make sure we can fight against Tian. Way super low. They're just playing with time here on Top Esports until Knight comes up. Way takes more damage, and JackeyLove getting that kill sealed the deal for RNG.
And it felt like Xiaohu and Bin wanted to threaten JackeyLove, but the rest of the team playing around him, making sure he could position in the back of the Baron pit, get that bullet time across the team. And I mean, Tian was stuck in his stopwatch there. I didn't think he was going to come out in time to get the smite there. I think he smited, but on like 60 HP or something.
Yeah, it was super close, and that's what it comes down to, right? Is like, again, kind of the split calls from RNG, where some people are going wrapping around the back, others aren't falling back. They kind of felt that pressure in the moment, and they cracked. And that's where Top Esports pounced. And now, as we go into Game 5, it feels again like you're going, well, what do we actually do here? Because we saw a ton of bans towards Xiaohu in the mid lane. He brings out the Twisted Fate, answered with this great Vex from Knight that's taking over. Tian consistently invading onto Way. It felt like the Lee Sin was probably the better answer here than the HEcarim, because I mean, the HEcarim was just getting bullied in these early stages. Tian knew exactly how to deal with it. And as we started to go on into the game, we just never really saw Xiaohu and Wei interacting as much as we would have liked.
No, didn't get to see it. And honestly, like with the early game that Top Esports had, it's not surprising that they weren't really able to do much as a pair because they fell so far behind off the start of the game. And once again, we see one of these 2 mid laners on a more supportive pick, and once again, it doesn't feel like the team quite has the tools to finish the job. We need to see. I mean, look, let's just remove bans for Game 5. Let's just see Knight on Ari and Xiaohu on
Game
LeBlanc.
5. Yeah, let's do it.
Z versus Z. Let's see some classics. I just want to see carry versus carry between Xiaohu and Knight. That feels like really the core of this series.
And that's it. I think we haven't really seen the core of these 2 teams really fight up against each other, right? Game 1 and Game 2, Top Esports never really got going in the early stages, and RNG kind of ran away with it late. Now Game 3, Game 4, I mean, specifically Game 4 for me, we're seeing like the Twist of Fate mid where Xiaohu can't really get much going on the map. Gala even going back towards the Xayah doesn't really feel like the Gala pick. I mean, look at the damage she's done in this game. It's not really there. Like, this is the guy that we've seen on the Aphelioses, the Jinxes, the 40% of RNG's damage in playoffs has come from Gala, but he's not able to find those moments on picks like the Xayah.
Do you know what? I have to feel a little bad for Wayward off the back of this game. Because really, this was the Wayward show for the majority of the game, but then the last play doesn't really include him. So we just don't talk about him now. Like the recency, we've forgotten that Wayward was a part of the game at all. He had such an incredible run of it on this Tryndamere. The counter pick paying dividends, and Bin being massively punished for the blind chase.
Yeah, but this is the thing, right? I think it was like the trifecta of Knight, Tian, and Wayward. Now, Tian had a little bit of an upsie partway through this, but realistically, the way they worked was, hey, Knight pushes mid, we link up with Tian, Wayward's the benefactor. And this felt like such a good system for them to work through that it just took Bin out of the game. And eventually, Wayward doesn't have a counterpart in his lane, right? Like, he just murders Xiaohu in cold blood underneath his own turret. Bin has decided, like, Xiaohu's now the sacrificial lamb because he can't deal with them. There's no winning in that matchup anymore. And it felt like that slow crawl to an inevitable Top Esports win.
Well, Dagda, it's about that time that we head towards game number 5. We're going to take a brief reprieve, and then we will find out who